Collective. It's astrologyforecast for the Astrology Energy Forecast. This will be for the week of January 19th, the 25th of 2026. Thank you so much for clicking onto my video. If you're a returning member, subscriber, or viewer, welcome back, Soul Family. It's good to see you guys again. I hope you are doing well. And a little update here to my followers, my subscribers. Brand new, okay? I have updated my membership perks that will begin February of 2026. Most importantly and significantly is the live streams that I'll be doing once a week, 4 times a month for members only readings and card pulls. Okay, it means I'm only going to tap into the energy of the members who are present in that live stream, as well as providing guidance and individual card pulls for those members. So if you are wanting a personal tarot reading from me, that is the only way you're going to get it, and it's going to be in a spiritually safe place. Okay, the link to that will be in the description box as well as the comment section for y'all's convenience. I got a lot to unpack today, so I'm going to try to speed through the intro, the prayers and things like that, so I can get into the nitty gritty, okay, because it's a big week astrologically. We're having prophecy play out, okay? We're having fated events play out. I mean, we're gearing up to almost the eclipse season, which will begin in mid-February to early March, which means fated endings. And eclipse energies can begin 3 months before and be in effect till 3 months after. So FYI, we are gearing up for that. So, disclaimer here and trigger warning, if you cannot handle prophecy, especially when it comes to world events, this is not gonna be the place for you this time, okay? I mean, I don't know why you're on my channel to begin with if you can't handle prophecy. Literally the whole channel brand is prophecy, okay, either through intuition or written in the stars. It's prophecy. So like if you can't handle that, especially when it comes to world events or having your worldview shattered, because I'm going to give you the exact prophecy that's written in the stars, and if you don't like what you hear, that's just you. I'm here to give you the guidance, I'm here to give you the info, and you take what you need from it and go on about your day, okay? Now, I am Belena of both fairy tales in my hand here. I'm an author of The Princess and Her Inner Voice and The Dark High Priest and Prostitute Queen Unseen. Both these fairy tales, the audiobooks, will be attached to this video for convenience. However, you wish to purchase physical copies, you can find them online or retail to Amazon, Walmart, and Barnes & Noble, to name a few. This one is in its second edition print, which means that the first edition that is signed, as well as all my products, you can find on my website, which is www.aspiraltotheself.com. All the information will be in the description box below for your convenience, as well as all my social media platforms and pages, so we do not get scammed by people or pages pretending to be me. As always, I begin each reading and forecast with a prayer. This just provide an energetic boundary for what I will also come through as I chant these messages for you guys, because I will be pulling oracle cards and tarot this time. I call upon God, Bandra, great God this morning, 23. Lu, the archangels, my ancestors, and the unseen. Please only allow in this reading and forecast what I call upon, which is high vibrational energy and frequency. If any lower vibrational entities, beings, and energies try to come through, try to astral project, open a portal, remote, view, morning, spirit, in the past and future, I ask that you block, bind, and blind, and immediately return to sender 100-fold, on which you give me full consent to intervene and to intercede on my behalf with reading fit. Please allow me to see what you want the collective to know by clear concise messages. If anyone tries to abuse technology in any kind of way in the past, present, and the future by trying to take a screenshot, astral project, open a portal, remote, view, monitoring spirit, in the past, and the future, I ask that you block, bind, and blind, and immediately return to 100-fold, once you give me full consent to hold them accountable and bring them to justice in your way. Please protect me, this channel, the video, and the viewers. I deliver this divinely guided message. Any curses, hexes, evil eye, black magic, witchcraft, and bindings, that they be blocked, bind, and blinded, and immediately return to sender 100-fold. The sinner's mask ripped off, they'll be able to keep their lies, deceit, and ill intentions hidden. They will be exposed and publicly known. Bottom, I will submit this be. Okay, so getting into the background energies, which is the retrograde energies. It means that the planets or major asteroids go backwards in their motion. Okay, so we have Uranus retrograde, which will be in retrograde until February 3rd. This is where we're blocking old patterns, trusting our inner guidance, and creating radical change. Then you have Jupiter retrograde, which will be in retrograde until March 10th of 2026. This is where we're healing old wounds, reevaluating what truly brings us comfort and security. Now, the energetic tap in. Okay, I'm going to be pulling oracle cards and tarot cards. I just couldn't steer away from the tarot. I just couldn't. When it came to this week, again, there's a lot of big themes going on this week, and it all is going to originate from this new moon on February 18th. There's going to be an uptick in political protests. There's going to be an uptick in societal unrest. There's going to be an uptick in people speaking loud and proud and getting their message across in unconventional ways. This is a test of adversity, okay? This is a test from the universe. This is meant to happen, okay? People were born during this time period to do exactly this shit, okay? And it's required for us. New levels, new devils, okay? If you're wanting to expand consciousness, if you're wanting, people to be viewed as people, as having rights, as having human rights, things have to change, okay? And I'm not just talking for my birth country, which is the United States. I'm talking for all, okay? Because we are all changing, and we are in the age of Aquarius, which means revolutionary changes, okay? Pluto in Aquarius, revolutionary changes with societal shifts, okay? It's playing out now, especially since we have 3 planets that will be going into the zodiac sign of Aquarius this week. Most notably will be Mars and Mercury, speaking unconventionally and doing things, creating, destroying things unconventionally to provide societal reform, okay, to bring progressive change. And I can just speak for my country when I say that the way that the American people have designed the way that we get change has been very passive, so much so that the changes that we want, we aren't getting because we've gone through the correct channels. However, our government, both sides, are very, very corrupt, and they do not care about what we say or what we want. Okay, like you can see all the world events that are playing out right now. Majority of the United States do not want to invade Greenland. No. We don't want to invade anybody, right? We really just want like work-life balance. We want to have affordable housing. We want healthcare, right? Like we want affordable healthcare. If people couldn't agree with universal healthcare, we just want it to be affordable to where it's not a mortgage payment, okay? Because that's how much ours is. It's a mortgage payment, and it's tied to your job. And, jobs in the United States are very toxic, very draining, and it's like you sacrifice your health just to get insurance, and it's like even the insurance that you get, it's still expensive as fuck, right? Like we just want to have, be able to live. We just want to be able to work and, have that American dream that we were sold that doesn't exist anymore. That's really what we want. We don't want to, dethrone Venezuela. We don't give a fuck about Venezuela. We don't give a fuck about Greenland, right? Like no offense to Greenland, like not saying that you guys aren't great. I'm just saying we don't care about like expanding our presence in the world. We don't care about that shit. Like we're not in our whole Napoleonic era. We're not trying to see how much we can conquer, right? Like that's not us. The things that have been going on in the United States are, I'm not going to say it's surprising because it's not. Right now you're seeing in the world, not just the United States, as people's shadows being illuminated. Okay, so you're seeing essentially the universe is holding up that mirror and letting it be known people's outdated belief systems. The wounds that people need to heal, especially when it comes to race, when it comes to gender, and that's playing out this week. Beginning of the week, it's going to be gender. Throughout the week, it's going to be political, which right now, like say, for my country, has to do with race, has to do with the color of your skin, which is so fucking pathetic and just dumb. At the day and the age that we are, we were all taught about this shit, kids now aren't really taught about slavery or the Holocaust, but we were, like as in millennials, we spent a great deal of time on it. We spent a great deal of time on our constitutional rights. We spent a great deal of time of, learning about our country's independence. Just to, I'd say in the past 15 years for, it seems like in the past 15 years, or at least after Obama, it was anybody who was senile, a predator, was the only people that were going to get in office. And I'm even talking about Hillary Clinton because she's a predator. She's a predator and she's senile as fuck, right? Like her, Biden, Trump. Those were our options to vote. Again, it's an illusion of choice. And the American people haven't demanded better. So we are stuck with what we get. And the universe is telling you it's like, especially with Sun being in Aquarius this week, which is a detriment sign of the Sun, it's like you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like you're detached from your community, and it is purposeful. It's because you need to feel that way for there to be changes. You need to feel like this ain't right for there to be changes. And again, it has to do with, gender and race. And it seems like that's been a prevalent theme in my country's history. I can't speak for other countries, but gender and race has been a huge shadow and setback for us since we were founded. Like wanting to deny people rights who are not men and who are not white. We've been doing everything that we can, even when we, even when women and minorities receive rights, it's like There's been just backdoor deals and undermining, trying to strip away those rights that we've earned. And then trying to brainwash the American people that they don't need it, aka conservative women, right? Like trying to convince them that you don't need feminism. Feminism isn't something that you want. Well, do you want a bank account? Do you want to be able to get a credit card? Do you want to be able to own a home? Do you want to work, right? Do you want your husband to still be able to beat you? Do you want your husband to be able to still rape you? Because that wasn't outlawed until like 1990. So FYI with that, you know? So, I mean, and you couldn't have a credit card or a bank account until like the 1970s, 1980s. So it's like, stop hating on feminism because the rights that you have are because of those, right? And especially now when it comes to bodily autonomy, like we're facing that as a country when it comes to, we have a low birth rate because it's expensive as fuck and nobody can afford to live, right? Like they're trying to strip away women's rights because women have decided to separate from men because of the abuse, just the dehumanization of not viewing them as people, like viewing them as just a whole that is either in service or out of service, that doesn't have feelings, needs, or anything like that. But also like men trying to make women their mothers and their partners at the same time, but still not respecting their needs, respecting them as people. And women now have the opportunity to, you know, support themselves. It may be hard, but at least, I mean, it's freedom. Maybe hard, but at least it's freedom. Speaking from experience, you know, I've had to live on my own with 2 children with no help. It's freedom though. I was poor, but I was free. And then I built myself up, right? So it's like, we had that going on, but then also because, you know, there's so many crazy laws going on when it comes to our bodies and when it comes to like our reproductive rights. You know, we did have Roe versus Wade, but like they're now going as far as trying to outlaw like birth control and shit like that. So like you have no say over your body and you have no say over what happens to you. I mean, you get more time for, you know, for having a miscarriage than you would being a rapist. Think about that. Like that's insane. And I'm just speaking factually. Like this is an opinion here. This is just fact. Like it's fact. If you can't handle it, this ain't the channel for you. Okay, there's no illusions here. Like, and we're going through societal reform. And it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. And you're seeing who's who. Like, you're going to see the people who would have outed Anne Frank. Family members, lovers, friends, business associates. You're going to see that. And it's going to make you uncomfortable. And it's meant to. It's a test of adversity. Because in order for there to be change, in order for you to get what you want, you got to speak up. And you got to do it in an unconventional way. And I'm in no way advocating for violence. However, our government is not above using violence when it comes to peace. I mean, we've been seeing that with protesting. Like, if you're in another country and you're wondering, well, why won't the American people protest? Because they literally created laws around it where, like, you can't. Like, depending upon the state, all it takes is for 2 paid protesters, or paid rioters, should I say, which we've seen ads on, like, websites like Craigslist and things like that, where they will pay people to go into a peaceful protest. All it takes is for 2 people to start a riot, to start damaging property, for the entire protest to be labeled as a riot, which then means they can attack the public, which then means they can jail them, which then means they can take like personal property. Some states, it will allow them to take like your home, it will allow them to take your land if you are considered a rioter. We had Florida that said that they were going to unalive you. But it's like, all it takes is 2 people, and we've seen both political parties, both Democrat, both Republican, purposely pay people to disrupt a peaceful protest. So like the conventional ways that we were doing things peacefully isn't getting nowhere, and we are getting more aggression from our government when we don't comply with things that are unconstitutional or illegal, aka the internment camps and abducting American citizens from their home and then unaliving them for the jollies of it. Like, just for the jollies of it. There's so many videos of that. Like, you know, there's so many videos of that, and she wasn't the only one. She wasn't the only one. So, I mean, astrologically, this is predicted. Again, we're getting close to eclipse season, which means fated endings. Big changes, right? The beginning of the week, it's all about boundaries, emotional boundaries, wanting independence, wanting, you know, empowerment in your relationships. So not people pleasing, not being codependent. But then later in the week, again, it starts from the new moon. So from January 18th through all this week, it's going to be a huge protest, speaking loudly, doing things unconventionally to make yourself heard. to create the revolutionary changes, to do the societal shifts. People are going to get guided on what they need to do. So if you're wondering, like, what's going on, this is, you know, and I've been telling you guys, like, Trump is part of the prophecy. Trump is a fated event. He's a catalyst, meaning he enacts change. He enacts the change, say like internment camps, say like abducting American citizens, attacking other countries, cutting all of our social funding, attacking our most vulnerable, to initiate the changes within the individual that collectively creates the whole that demands change. He's a catalyst. He's meant to enact change. He is meant to be the bringer of the next American Revolution, but not in the way that you think. Not because he's a good guy and he's trying to free the American people, make them great again. No, like, he is supposed to do some fucked up shit to where, like, the American people and other countries are activated enough to want change. Again, like, I don't think any of my brothers or sisters in the United States want a world war. If you think shit's unaffordable now, it's going to really be that way if, like, we have no support from our European neighbors. We have more enemies than we do friends. And all it takes is for NATO to go to China and Russia and go, hey, you want to work with us? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And they have access to us that way. So, like, if you're worried about money to the point where you're willing to look the other way to injustices, it's going to get a lot more complicated for you. It's going to be poverty, it's going to be despair, and it's going to be fear. That's what this administration's all about. It's fear. But they're not the only ones. Like, if you actually do your research, you would see that ICE was equally supported by both parties. Both parties funded ICE. It's taken this presidency, this administration, to go the extra miles, kilometers of what they're doing now, but both of them funded it. And if you're wondering about my political party, I'm libertarian. I think they both should fucking go. I'm actually at the point where I think that we should get rid of all of them, dethrone them all, create new rules on what we will allow to be what represents us, and start anew. Because what's in there now is pure cancer, pure tumor. You don't argue with the tumor, you cut it out before it kills you, right? That's exactly where I'm at. So, like, I don't care what you do, but just don't bother me, right? Like, don't bother me. Don't come asking me to pay for it. Like, leave me alone. And if you need my money, this is the non-libertarian version of me. If you need my money, at least have it go towards, you know, societal reform, like paying for poor people and, you know, kids to eat and shit like that. Like, not go and, you know, be bullies to other countries and, you know, play God in their lives, like, you know, overthrowing a dictator, funding the dictator, you know, imperialism. Like, that's not what I want my money to be for, right? Like, if you're going to take it from me anyway, I'd rather it be, you know, for education, health, things that improve society, right? But I mean, the United States, they say historically, there's only 4 years in our entire history where we weren't in a war, and that's because war generates money. That's a hard truth to swallow. So this week, again, it's going to be about unconventionality, tension and attachment from your community here, a test of adversity. So I'm going to pull some cards here, and again, I couldn't get away from the tarot. I know I've been speaking, but it's a conversation to unwrap. Okay, like, it's something that has to be stated. It's a fated event, and you could see it ramping up. You know, we've been seeing it ramp up. We've been seeing, you know, like, hey, this is coming. Hey, this is coming. But nobody wants to see it. Everybody wants to live in their own little bubble because they don't want to see it. Because it means they got to do stuff, and people don't want to do stuff because they're comfortable. Spirit, what do you want the collective to know? Let's get into the feeling part when it comes to emotional boundaries. To block old patterns so that way you can attain your goal of having independence and empowerment within relationships. Spirit, what do you want the collective to know about enforcing emotional boundaries this week? Blocking old patterns. What do you want the collective to know about this? Yeah, when there comes to some kind of confusion about what you should do, okay, which way you should go, know that you have the optimism here to reach some kind of milestone in your life. You just have to let go of the urgency when it comes to partnerships, the connections that you have, that you need to be in alignment. You need to be in alignment. Chakras all in alignment. And listen to your higher self, and that will bring you the solution. You just have to have the courage to face the unknown and to use your healing light to heal yourself. But also know that there's hidden motivations here, okay? For happy success. So maybe it's because you're having to look at the hidden motivations for why you want this relationship to begin with. You know, like with Venus being an Aquarius, it's unconventionality, okay? It's like not going the traditional route when it comes to relationships or finances. It's like, what is your motivation for wanting happiness and success and love? What is your hidden motivation here? But it also could be like you wanting to feel empowered is going to be the discipline that you need to, you know, essentially hold on to those belief systems, because we do have a meteor shower peak day at the very beginning of the week, which is all about being guided by your principles. Like if you want to be seen as an equal, if you want to be seen as like a person with needs and, you know, and rights and shit like that, like keep that in your head, keep that in the forefront to block any kind of old patterns that were keeping you stagnant in the same old kind of cycle, in the same old type of relationship, right? So you're going to need to just hold that in the forefront of your mind. Spirit, what else do you want the collective to know when it comes to enforcing emotional boundaries and being resilient to block old patterns? What do you want the collective to know about this? That you're purging right now, okay? You're getting rid of anything that is disrupting your inner peace, emotional discomfort, okay? You're purging out things that have to go. The path of least resistance. Right now, the right door hasn't opened up for you because something has to happen for the highest benefit of all before it can, okay? That's when it comes to your relationships, beginning of the week. Now we're going to get into the fated event. Spirit, tell us about the fated event when it comes to rebellion, unconventionally speaking, doing to advocate for independence and societal reform. The Lilith and Sagittarius energy. What is this? Right now, healing in darkness, returning to the light, rising from the ashes. Okay, so right now, again, the mirror is being shown to where people have wounds, where people have old, outdated beliefs. And it's like we're getting out of the dark to get to the light, but you have to essentially find your light in the darkness to get out, right? Like you have to address the dark to get to the light. Again, this is all part of getting the collective to 5D consciousness. They got to go through the dark. They got to go through what's uncomfortable to get to the light. Storm warning. Again, I told you, it's coming. There's tower, there's chaos, there's change that's coming, okay? There's going to be a shift. Spirit, tell us about the storm that's coming this week. Tell us about the storm that's coming this week, Spirit. Tell us about the storm that's coming this week. Tell us about the storm that's coming this week. 9 of Wands. Yeah, it's going to require your resilience. Okay, it's going to require you. It may, it may be very draining. It may, be really taxing on you. But you're going to have to be resilient to stand your ground. Okay, in order for you to have a passionate breakthrough. You may need to isolate from other people to go within to receive guidance, because you may be feeling like you're stuck at an impasse. You don't know like what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Again, like in the United States, it's like many people want to protest, but you're going to get shot at. Like, that like you can get imprisoned. You know that you can have your property taken from you, depending upon the state you live in. Like, scary time. It's not even really about other people judging you. It's about like, do I go to jail for this? Will I get shot? Will I be reneged good? Right? Like, will that happen to me? Right? Like, you may feel stuck doing that. Yeah. Because you're being overburdened right now. You may need to isolate here because you may feel stuck when it comes to your partnerships, your relationships. When the storm that comes, this catastrophic change that comes to your community. Because there's a wealthy man here that you're going to have to stand your ground, defend yourself against, because he wants to victimize. He wants to imprison. He wants to back the collective into a corner. I mean, we already know who this guy is, right? The King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is somebody who's got wealth, right? He's got money. He's got an empire. Trump's got money. He wants us to be violent. He wants us to meet violence with violence, because then he can declare martial law and it can get a lot worse. He wants to imprison. He wants to make you paralyzed with fear because he runs off of fear. Yep. And then in order for you to get this heart opening, you're going to have to be in your divine feminine energy, which means you have to be in receptive feminine energy here in order to get any kind of forward movement, meaning you got to allow it to come to you. And that is very consistent with the energy towards later in the week. It's like you need to allow it to come to you in divine right time. Change happens gradually, right? It's not going to happen overnight. And force destroys more than it creates has been the key message. Force destroys more than it creates. In order for there to be love, in order for there to be a receptive energy, like it to come to you what it is that you are wanting, which is like freedom, independence, right? Like you're going to have to essentially like allow it to come to you. Force destroys. We already see that. Like we already know the game plan. Like he wants to destroy. He wants to imprison. He wants you paralyzed with fear. But you have to do this. You have to be in your feminine energy and be essentially surrender to the power of love, you know, like in order to move forward. It's going to take your inner strength here in order to manifest. In order to manifest. Because there's going to be arguments. There's going to be conflict that may make you feel trapped. You're going to need to listen to your intuition, which we do have the moon in Pisces this week, which is where you're going to be seeing a lot of signs. It's going to be telling you what to do midweek. Listen to your intuition. Your dreams are going to be providing you with answers about what you need to do, some kind of long-term plan that will bring you rewards. You just have to be in your Queen of Swords type energy. You need to speak your truth unconventionally, loudly, insightfully, right? But also stand your ground, use your intelligence, and have very firm boundaries. Very firm boundaries. You may need to even walk away. You need to abandon being hasty, making reckless decisions. We have Knight of Wands. There's somebody who just, acts and doesn't think about it. Being very reckless. Thinking that they're brave, right? You need to abandon this. Think about it. Organize. Come up with a plan here. Because again, the Emperor, heavily masculine energy here, the dominating male, is watching to see if people are in anxiety, fear, despair, if they're at their breaking point. Again, we're dealing with the tyrant, and everybody knows that. Like, I'm not speaking anything you don't already know. Now, getting into the daily energy. All right, so we have January 19th, Sun sextiles Neptune, Venus conjunctions Pluto, Saturn sextiles Uranus, Venus sextiles Lilith, Mars trines Uranus, and we have the Ursay meteor shower peak day. Meteor shower peak days are lucky. Okay, you're in a new period of resilience to blocking old patterns that have kept you stagnant. You're being guided by your principles that enforces your emotional boundaries, blocking old patterns, and fiercely pursuing your goal of independence and empowerment. January 20th, Sun and Mercury both goes into the sign of Aquarius. I have the Sun and Aquarius reading out, which I'll attach this video. However, on Sunday, so the new moon, January 18th, I will have the Mercury in Aquarius reading. Okay. And then Mars sextiles Saturn, Mercury sextiles Neptune. So Sun Aquarius, which Aquarius is a detriment sign of the Sun. This is where your identity feels separate than that of your community, where you feel detached. This is going to be a feeling until February 17th of 2026. Mercury also goes inside of Aquarius until February 5th. Again, unconventional, quirky, loud, insightful communication. There will be many opportunities to communicate fears and ideas, as well as the strategy to enforce emotional boundaries. January 21st, Sun conjunctions Mercury, Moon in Pisces. Again, your emotions and your intuitions are going to be heightened. There's going to be so many signs around you this day. Pay attention, okay, on what you need to do. Speaking up unconventionally and insightfully will be conducive if you feel detached from your community. Okay, if you feel like your viewpoint is not everyone else's viewpoint, which is perfectly fine. You're not going to be for everybody, right? And just because many people believe one thing don't mean that they're in the right. We've seen that. Holocaust, right? Like internment camps with the Japanese, the United States, right? Slavery. Just because a group of people thinks it's right don't mean they're in the right, okay? January 22nd, Mercury conjunctions Pluto, Mercury sextiles Lilith. Communicating in a loud and unconventional way will be conducive to enacting changes to society to shift. There will be many opportunities to loudly rebel and advocate for your independence. It's like midweek. There's going to be so many protests. There's going to be so many things that are stated so loud, and it's going to be in an unconventional way because the conventional way didn't work. Don't be surprised. Don't be like, well, why can't they protest peacefully? They got shot. So the fuck you want? They got shot. They went to jail. Like, what do you want? January 23rd, Mars goes into the sign of Aquarius. Mars sextiles Neptune. Sun conjunctions Pluto. Sun sextiles Lilith. Moon in Aries. Okay, so Mars is in Aquarius until March 1st of 2026. Unconventional approach to love, goals, and conflicts. Societal reform and progressive ideas. Your intuition is going to prompt you on when you need to confront something or enact any kind of changes. There will be many opportunities for ideas and societal reform to be approached unconventionally. Feeling detached is necessary for revolutionary changes, as there will be many opportunities to rebel and advocate for independence. January 24th, Pallas is in the sign of Pisces, which is a detriment sign for Pallas. Pallas is the goddess Athena. War strategy, battle, right? Profound insights, understanding hidden meanings, prophetic knowing. Okay, I'll have that reading out sometime next week, probably by next Friday, okay? January 25th, Moon goes to the sign of Taurus. This is where your intuition is going to be telling you, you need to go at a slow and steady pace. Focus on the logical and the practical at this time, okay? Like you could be overburdening your energy. You may need to slow it down some. Now the chakra this week, if you haven't guessed, is going to be the throat chakra. It's also your third eye as well. It's the second week it's been like that, but it's going to be your throat chakra, which is your center of karma. It's your center of advocating for yourself, speaking your truth, okay? It's also the center of where all illnesses originates, because if illness is originating, it's because you are not speaking your truth. You're not upholding your own personal truths. It's the ability to define ourselves in a world. It's used for manifesting and self-protection. It's the vehicle of soul's expression. Provides options in the form of dreams, intuition. We say yes or no to these. Again, pay attention this week. It's going to be heavily illuminated to you. It's a center of clear audience, which means clear healing. Ability to speak to ourselves psychically, spiritual guides, as well as people. So receiving intuitive guidance, receiving, telepathic communication from other beings around you. It's the power of choice. The yang function of this chakra is expressing and voicing our truths. The yin function is attuned to receiving guidance. I use the sound to express experiences, needs, and emotional states. Fears. Fears of this chakra are related to our willpower. Strength is self-knowledge, personal authority, keeping our word to ourselves and others, and fate. Problems if this chakra is at a misalignment or malfunctions. Disorders in throat, jaw, mouth, thymus, tonsils, victimization, and ability to say yes or no. Again, the whole goal of this King of Pentacles, this dominating male, aka Trump, is to suppress your voice, to make you feel victimized, make you scared to speak up. And like my shirt says, her return is inevitable. Take it how you want. The divine feminine, United States, justice, revolution, judgment moves quietly. And I wrote this shirt, by the way, if you're wondering. I wrote this shirt. I ordered it off Etsy. I created the saying and I had it printed on a t-shirt. I put on a t-shirt, right? Or a long sleeve shirt. But that's exactly what's going on here. The return is inevitable. Judgment moves quietly. Don't get stuck in a mob mentality of what's right and what's not. Have a fucking brain and think for yourself, right? Because this is the center of karma. How you act now determines what happens to you later. And if you're someone who's looking the other way when there's injustices going on, when there's people like harming people and things like that, what do you think is going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to your bloodline? Let's just talk about that for a second. What do you think is going to happen to your bloodline? Like, you're somebody who doesn't speak up. You're someone who looks the other way. Maybe there's something of the policies that this administration has enacted for you that is what you wanted. Maybe you wanted the racism. Maybe you wanted, people, your fellow American citizens to be imprisoned or unalived. This administration is hurting the people you want to hurt, right? What do you think is going to happen to you, your loved ones, if something happens? Because, it's public knowledge. Our president has 34 felonies. He's a predator, convicted predator, and he's associated so heavily with one of the largest human moving around rings. And all of this war and victimization is to get people to stop talking about what he did and who he's associated with, and to stop him from going to jail and serving time for that, along with all his billionaire and rich friends, right? That's what all this is about. It's all distraction. What can I do to make people stop talking about it? The island where all the children went, What can I do to make people stop talking about it? Oh, it's a big Greenland. Let's go to Venezuela. Let's care about the Iranians and their protests, but simultaneously try to suppress our own, right? Judgment moves quietly. You will be judged for that shit. Like, you will have that karma come out. Do the right thing. That's what integrity is. Doing the right thing. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching. Have some integrity. Right? Be a safe person to be around. Don't be the person who outs Anne Frank. Right? Addictions that stimulates from this chakra being in a misalignment is oral fixation. Over excessively talking. Always having food in your mouth. Always drinking something. Like coffee. Water. Always having to slurp and sip. Or always having to have dip or, a cigarette or something in your mouth, right? Compulsive munching and crunching on salty foods. Always eating, right? All right, my lovely and beautiful collective. I hope I was able to provide you with clarity of what you truly know as well as what to expect this week. Thank you for watching. And if you like my vibe in this video, please like, subscribe, definitely help to the channel. Please stay tuned for a brief little snippet of the Dark High Priestess and Project Queen of the Scene.